listening to the Chartographers.
You're listening to the Chartographers. It's a music-loving podcast, music-loving people. We talk about albums, we rank them, we do that thing. Happy Hour Minisode. It's happening right now with me, Minisode, Taran O'Reilly, and special guest and Chartographers All-Star, Kerida O'Reilly.
That was a lot harder to, yell joyfully in unison. Right. I don't know why. Well, it was harder of a word to sustain, let's say.
Also, isn't Ahoy the title of Punch Brothers' album?
Well, so... It's the title of an EP, and then it is also the way that Chris Thiele starts every episode of Live From Here. He walks onto the stage and shouts "Ahoy," and then the whole audience shouts "Ahoy" back at him.
Which I personally, when I was in the Live From Here audience, I started, "Oh, there was a pineapple under the skin." No, I don't do that. But
don't lie.
Stop lying. Anyway, Nickel Creek, we talked about them, and we're going to talk a lot more about them in a Happy Hour Minisode. It's a freewheeling discussion, but the thing is, it's a Happy Hour Minisode. We need to start with the thing we do at the start of every Happy Hour Mini episode, which is friends. What is the worst Nickel Creek song?
Not on Little Cowboy.
We don't get that. We're not counting that.
Not a fair discussion.
And the thing is, if we're doing that, then of course it has to be "He Will Listen to You" off of Here to There. So that's just a fact. That's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Or the hand song off of Self-Titled, if we're gonna go that way. Taran.
I don't mind it as much as you do. I think
I don't either. I still think it's a really pretty song. It's a pleasure to listen to. Actually, if I don't think too hard about it.
It might be Brand New Sidewalk.
I was gonna call that you were gonna say that.
Call in.
Never mind. We already talked about it. I don't need to get into it.
I also don't mind a Brand New Sidewalk.
What's your least favorite then? They're all amazing and flawless.
I mean, honestly,
Seven Wonders.
There are ones I don't like as much. I love Seven Wonders.
I do too.
I understand why you don't. It's a very specific type of listening.
Yeah.
And I will say Seven Wonders to me is the same vibe as Out of the Woods. And so I like Seven Wonders, but I always kind of wish Out of the Woods was on instead.
Actually, might say Speak.
Really? Very surprised.
Because not beginning to end, I'm not like, oh, I don't want to listen to this song. But there are parts where I'm like, why are you doing that?
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It is a very interesting arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It is certainly not a pop song.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It switches back and forth between moods very, not jarringly.
I think it confuses me, honestly. I don't. Wait.
I like it personally, but again, we all have.
I like it too,
things,
and that was another one where I wasn't super familiar with it before this week, and I was like, okay. Yeah. I appreciate what's going on.
I like it when they click into pop song mode sometimes.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable in that facet.
I mean, again, Taran and I were having this discussion just in general earlier, it might be my least favorite. I don't know that makes it the worst.
Right, which understandably.
Whereas, Out of the Woods, Taran said was in his top 50. Out of the Woods is top 10 favorite songs for me.
All time, not just Nickel Creek, yeah.
Yeah, but, that's my top 10 favorite songs.
For me,
not necessarily the top 10
it's the same.
songs I've ever heard.
It's actually the same, except Out of the Woods by Taylor Swift. So that's just, very different.
Stop lying.
So listen, the thing is, the biggest thing about this that we can talk about their life, discography, career. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, the first thing that I just want to say out the gate is that the 6 albums we discussed for our main episode is just over 4 hours of music. However, I also, since we had to wait for the physical copies to arrive, so we had a little longer of a lead up to this episode, I made a playlist of every recording the 3 of them have released, and it was 32 hours long.
Shit.
So they have released just a ridiculous amount.
Shit ton.
I almost joked that the Minisode was going to be longer than the episode, but
which is legitimately if we
it's truly, all about fiction family.
Truly talked about all of the albums that they had released, it would be insanely long because even Punch Brothers have put out 5 records on their own, and then like
it's a
Sara
distinct
has
entity
3
by itself.
solo records, and
Well, let's
Sean has a ton of albums out too. He put out 3 collaborative albums this year.
Yeah, which is kind of insane.
Dang, man.
I kind of want to talk about each of them just a little bit individually real quick.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to go of the lines of let's talk about Sean, then Chris, then Sara. And Sean, he put out some albums. Cool. All right, so now let's go on to...
No, that's not fair.
Yeah, no.
Actually, when I saw them in their reunion tour, I had this moment of like, I haven't given Sean enough credit.
Just how he played?
Yeah, just like how he played, and I think like he actually like talked some.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like you got to actually meet his personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he also wrote some of my favorite songs by them.
Absolutely.
He wrote This Side, and he wrote Seven Wonders, which I know isn't your favorite, but, he absolutely was a vital contributor.
Well, he's one of the key of the band, but his solo career was interesting because, as you were noting, it was a lot more pop rock based. Like, he went with that vibe of it.
Well, at least during the 2000s, he did. And, I think all 3 of them sort of have dabbled and have then sort of moved back into their sweet spot.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like they all needed to do a pop record at some point or another. And they're all so wildly different because I listened to Deceiver, the Chris Neely album, which a lot of people cite as kind of like an experimental, like kind of art rock record on the mandolin. And it was surprisingly not palatable for me. It was a surprisingly like kind of kept me at bay kind of record, which is I feel like a thing with Chris, arguably such a prodigy, such a genius that like I don't think there's anyone around necessarily to tell him no on some certain projects that he wants to do.
Well, I think he agrees with you.
Yeah.
He thinks that album was like a fun experiment he needed to get out, and I think he said in an interview like 3 out of the 10 songs are successful, which I think I would agree with. I actually enjoyed a handful of the songs on there.
Well, one of the things that we watched this week was the documentary How to Grow a Band.
Wait, stop. I'm not done talking about Sean.
Okay.
No, because
I want to hear more about Sean.
Well, because literally I think that he sort of gets a bad rep, even among Nickel Creek fans, not like which isn't totally fair. I listened to the Fiction Family albums again this week. I had heard them before. Are they incredible? No. But I do think that When She's Near off of the first one is like a really fun pop rock song. He also has a couple instrumentals off of his more recent albums that are like really fucking good. He has this one called Local Honey that came out in 2016, I think. And it is absolutely like, we've talked about, he is a fantastic guitarist and it is on full display. And so, yeah, I think that there, it's sort of sad to me almost to like see some of his streaming numbers because again, I think the other 2 have like legitimately put out masterpieces and we'll get there, and I definitely wouldn't say that about his solo work, but he has individual songs that are really good, and I kind of wish that he got a little more credit for that.
And quick shout out, I would highly recommend, I think in 2016, I believe that was the album All I Do Is Lie, I believe is that one, right?
No, that was 2014.
2014.
It was, oh shit. What to Believe, I think?
Okay. Again, as we heard in the iTunes review, we're not always right. But the thing I will say, though, I would highly recommend our former guest from our Billy Joel episode, Bryce Ezel, also our Radiohead episode. He did an interview with Sean around that 2014 record. It was on Pop Matters. I reread it going into this week. It's fantastic.
What to Fear?
What to Fear, yes.
Yeah. Please, I recommend just do a quick type Bryce Ezel, Sean Watkins. It's a fantastic interview. I highly recommend it.
And that actually, the title track from that album is very much a scathing Fox News sort of song, and I think for those politically minded of us, again, it's not like groundbreaking, but it is, I think it was very well written and well conceived, and it's just nice to hear someone doing a bluegrass rock kind of sound talk about that.
Didn't you mention that there was an interview where Chris noted that they felt like they were out of place being, quote-unquote, like more liberal-leaning, but making music that appeals to conservative mindsets?
I think he was talking about Punch Brothers. But I think that's true of Nickel Creek, too, is that, they're artists. So generally, artists tend to skew more liberal for the most part, but they're making bluegrass music, which is mostly consumed by older conservative people. Which I think is also part of why, they talked about in How to Grow a Band, trying to, stay away from the term bluegrass because it doesn't really encapsulate the music that they're making.
Right.
When you think bluegrass, just because they're playing a mandolin and a violin, that doesn't necessarily, when you think bluegrass, that's not what you're going to get at a Punch Brothers show.
So we love you, Sean, we really do, but we do need to transition into this because it's a fascinating point, is that on the Punch Brothers debut album, Punch, which is highlighted a little bit in the documentary How to Grow a Band, there's a suite in there, a 40-minute suite in 4 movements that they do, which is, once again, much like Why Should the Fire Die, commenting a little bit about Chris's divorce and his feelings that he's kind of going through at that point. And there's a scene in the documentary where they're talking about how they're talking to the promoter, can we not call it hot bluegrass? Because that has a certain connotation to it. Like it says on the billboard, hot bluegrass. And that is not what the fuck we do.
What do you think of when you hear the term hot bluegrass?
Yeah.
And what band do you think of that plays those instruments but sounds absolutely nothing like that? Right. So can they change it?
They wanted to call it chamber bluegrass, which is honestly more accurate in terms of...
Well, no, I don't think they liked that term either.
Yeah.
They were like, if they're going to call it bluegrass, can we at least use the word progressive?
Yeah.
But that's why I'll say it again, I don't think, even really for Nickel Creek, I don't think the term progressive bluegrass
is applicable.
Really describes what they're doing.
Yeah.
When they aren't doing the instrumentals, for the most part, what you're getting is indie rock.
Yeah. It was just so fascinating because they performed this 40-minute suite at the top of their show to a silent audience, including a heckler that actually goes and says, "You guys suck" at one point. And there's a scene in them in the van the next day, and I think it's the stand-up with the guitarist who's just
the bassist.
Oh yeah,
the bassist who ended up leaving.
Yeah, who's just like, "Hey guys, maybe we can break it out into sections because this is a hard sell for some people." And,
because they were also starting to play shows before the album was even out,
right?
Which I think is a hard thing. You always are going to enjoy a live performance of a song maybe not always, but typically you're going to enjoy a live performance of a song more than a new song that you've never heard before.
I completely disagree.
Oh!
One of my favorite things to do is to see an artist I think I'll like but don't know yet live.
Give examples, please.
Jonesy. Jonesy,
Yeah.
Actually. I didn't really know Sigur Rós, and I certainly didn't know his album, and my friend was like, "Come see this with me," and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
That's probably my best example.
And that's kind of like us when we saw Cops.
Stop.
This is kind of cheating, but similarly, I went to see Sarah Watkins live, and I didn't really know her solo stuff, but this was after I saw the Dotted Line tour.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, she fucking kills it. Yeah, I'll go see her in this tiny theater in Madison.
Yeah.
I guess what I said isn't totally true.
But
it depends on the quality of the song, which I guess then is always the case.
Yeah.
Very
but,
cool.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting here like, I've also seen the Punch Brothers live, and I didn't, again, that was another, someone was like, it was with Taylor and her sister, who has met the Punch Brothers and knows their music inside and out, and is a similarly talented musician. And I mean, not on that level, but on that breakdown of listens to music from this viewpoint of someone who understands the technicalities of music, which is Punch Brothers to a T, right?
Oh, completely.
I mean, that's who Punch Brothers is for. It's for music.
They're
So that's what I was gonna say.
musicians.
So I've seen them live,
Yeah.
and you're telling me this, I'm like, I want to see them play a 40-minute suite without stopping in a silent audience.
Right. That's great. And
And
some
a
people
silent
who loved it.
audience.
But when they're performing in Nashville and it's
Yeah.
this group and they're advertised as hot bluegrass and it's an unknown entity, I fully understand.
Yes.
But that's also part of the reason why once the reviews started coming out and they were good, they're just the reviews are going to help us a lot because they're going to kind of clue people in as to what the style
Right.
is.
Well, and I also think, again, they started doing this, they played it for an audience that wasn't expecting that.
Yes.
If you're
Right,
going
which is
in
true.
expecting hot bluegrass, even if you may conceivably, in a different world, enjoy this 40-minute piece, you're not going to enjoy it because it's not what you were in the mood for. It's not what you got yourself in the mood for when you got ready to go to the theater that night.
Exactly.
So this is totally tangential,
Sure.
but just really funny story.
Happy Hour Minisode.
When
What's
we
that?
saw Hamilton in Madison,
Hamilton.
I mean, Yeah. I could go on so many like tangents of Madison people seeing Broadway shows, but specifically Hamilton, Claire was like going to the bathroom at intermission, and there was like this man like rushing out with his wife chasing after him, and he goes, "I thought this was a one-man show."
What?
Did he think it was what the Constitution means to me? Is that what he thought he was going to
I didn't know there was going to be rap.
Oh, no.
And his wife was like chasing behind him like, "I told you what it was."
Honey.
And he just like did it. And we were like, you think it was going to be a one-man show talking about Alexander Hamilton? Like, what?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, that reminds me of the, like, you're going in to see Hot Bluegrass and then you get Punch Brothers in the face. And
That reminds me
Punch in
of,
the
though,
face.
on Punch Brothers' most recent album, it's either the second or third song, there's a section at the end of the song where Chris Thiele is rapping in a style that reminds me a lot of Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I almost have to assume
Adorable.
it was inspired by.
Yeah.
Can they make out?
Make them kiss.
Please. I mean, never mind.
Well, okay. One thing we didn't talk about though, and I just kind of want to talk about in terms of Nickel Creek, is that the cover of the self-titled is so fucking weird to me. This fucking photoshopped in over a sunset photo of
So
frost-tipped Chris in these fucking sweaters and shit. Like, I'm just like,
And Sarah has the little braids in
Right,
her
and
hair.
her sweater is like so like.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's like, is this a bluegrass group or background extras for the OC? Like, I'm unsure.
Well, that's,
what
I mean,
yeah.
Sean on that album cover 100% looks like he could have been on Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, with the way his hair is done up, and again, that sweater, it's such a specific style of sweater.
Right,
That
yeah.
But
just-
as they noted, they changed the cover from the original thing, which is them in a warehouse, and there's like Chris kneeling, wearing
not
the
even kneeling, crouching.
crouching with his mandolin, with his fucking J. Crew.
Well, and also, Scott Thiele was still in the band.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then when they sold out the original pressing of the CDs and realized, like, oh, wait, this band might actually become something, then they redid the album cover in Nashville and then removed Scott from the band as a member and, like, just credited him on the songs that he played on, like when he provided upright bass on the record, but just like sort of remarketed them as a young band because
Right.
obviously he was Chris's dad, which really changes the feeling of
But-
what you're getting as far
Yes.
as.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fascinating little detail that even up to like
The original pressing.
original pressing and release of the self-titled, Scott was still in the band, and then they were like, wait, we can actually make a thing out of this.
If we
And
get
so
rid of him.
it's
Even
funny.
though they are ignoring the hot dad nut contingent of the market.
Oh
so
my God.
there's that. But real quick, Chris Thiele... You heard it here first. So, but Chris Thiele's different works and other things. You did the deep dive into Punch Brothers this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did a deep dive into when I said that I made a 32-hour playlist of everything they released. I then listened to almost all of it chronologically. I had to skip some of Chris Thiele's like boutique classical records.
I actually have. I have the one he did of the Box Sonatas, which is actually quite.
I mean,
quite good.
they're incredible. If that's what you're in the mood for,
Yeah.
it's great
Yeah.
music. It's just it's not. I was in bluegrass mode this week.
Right, it's a
And
little bit.
I wasn't
Those records
looking
are a little bit rigid. I understand.
You-
Unlike
I mean,
Goat Rodeo,
it's
which
Were
is a
you in
different
hot
thing.
bluegrass mode or progressive bluegrass
Were
mode?
you in cold bluegrass
Or
mode?
indie?
or chamber bluegrass
Chamber
mood. Yeah.
What flavor?
No, but
Chocolate.
then even some of the sort of more niche albums that he put out, like in I think it was 2003, he put out a duets album with another like virtuoso mandolinist, and the whole album is just two mandolins going back and forth. And there's actually a couple pieces on there where, again, as a music nerd, if you really like some of the Nickel Creek instrumentals, it's in a similar vein, and there were a couple pieces on there where I was like, this is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the album's called Into the Cauldron, something like that. But definitely, like, if
Oh,
you...
well, that's when he lost his face.
Yeah.
No.
But
Once
yeah,
you go
I mean,
cauldron.
if you're like a Nickel Creek super fan, I definitely think it's worth the listen.
But you said there was, I mean, and I listened to a little bit this, some of the streaming numbers on fucking Punch Brothers are amazing.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
The Punch Brothers as an entity are a fascinating, they have a fascinating arc, because as we discussed, they started with a 40-minute instrumental piece, and then that album has like 4 other songs on it that aren't part of that.
My understanding of Punch Brothers is that it was kind of like, hey, we're all really fucking talented. Let's do some stuff together.
It was also, hey, we're all really talented and in a bad place right now.
Right, and so, then it became like, oh, people like us.
Well, they also just had so much fun working together.
Yeah.
Like, I think they originally got together as, like, session musicians for a Chris Thile album, and then liked working together so much that they were like, let's evolve this. But yeah, I feel like they took a second to lock into their sound, but their 3rd and 4th albums, Who's Feeling Younger Now and Phosphorescent Blues, are both fantastic.
And those are the ones I know.
There's a couple, the opening song on the 3rd one, Movement and Location, absolutely reminds me of, like, Radiohead when they're feeling real experimental.
Well, isn't it the 3rd or the 4th album where they actually do the cover of Kid A, the studio version?
That's the 3rd one.
Right,
yeah.
Which is actually quite lovely, Right?
I mean, who would think to do that? To take this weird, burbly, electronic instrumental that Radiohead put out and to do a cover of it on all strings instruments, and just hearing the violin imitate the sounds of these, like, weird studio effects. It's not my personal favorite thing to listen to. It's, again, as a music nerd, just hearing the way that they took this sound and arranged it is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also a couple, I would almost go so far as to say Phosphorescent Blues is a masterpiece.
Oh, wow.
I've only heard it a couple times, because I literally just listened to it like a week ago for the first time. But it is really, really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's produced by T-Bone Burnett, which...
who did, of course, the O Brothers soundtrack.
Among a lot of
many
other
things.
But
right, yeah.
Yeah, it is truly a great album.
Yeah.
That's another one where I'd say, if you're a fan of Nickel Creek and you haven't listened to that,
It's part of the NCU, right. But then, the other thing that, honestly, I think the biggest surprise this week was Sara Watkins' career post-Nickel Creek. Because her first album, it was produced by John Paul Jones of motherfucking Led Zeppelin.
Right, well, he was in a supergroup with Sean and Sarah before that.
Right.
Called...
The Mutual Appreciation Society?
No, that's a different one.
Yeah.
Works Progress Administration?
Oh, yeah.
It's a terrible name. Just the worst
Technically a
name.
super group, but are they?
I mean, there were multiple very well-known musicians in it.
But is it super?
I mean, I didn't really like it.
I remember...
But...
oh my god, then there was that one... I just remember that one super group that happened. It was Mick Jagger, Joss Stone, R.A. Rahman from the fucking Slumdog Millionaire soundtrack fame, and someone else. But I'm just like, oh, that's a mix of people. Cool. I think it's called Super
like
Tiger or some shit like that.
Sometimes they just want to have fun.
This might shock you. I don't think they're active anymore. But, so yeah, she had her debut, which you said was kind of very in the pocket for her.
Yeah, it was very much her, like, continuing in sort of the style that you would expect from her. Yeah. And that was, it was, she went back to, most of the vocals were sort of gentle. A lot of the songs were written and performed on ukulele. And so, like, I liked it. There's a couple songs on it that were fun. But then, in comparison, her second album is just, like, an explosion of joy.
I listened to that. Like, it's kind of, quote-unquote, her pop album, but it was just still in her style. You could tell she was branching out from what she had done previously. Yeah. And it was fucking awesome to hear. It really, really was. It was so bright and full of color and texture and just
And then by the time I got to her 2016 album, I had listened to a ton of I'm With Her and watched a lot of performances on Live From Here, and so I had seen her cover the likes of Aretha Franklin and Solange and like sing like the highest, like belt out the top harmony vocal on some of the arrangements of I'm With Her, and I was like, I feel like even on her second album, the vocals were a little stronger, but I never saw her wail like I had seen her do in some live performances. And then the first song on, I think it's called Young in All the Wrong Ways. Yeah, it was the title track, and it just opens with a big rock power chord, and she's singing the shit out of it. And I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God, because I was getting to the point where I was like, why is this nowhere in your discography?
Right.
And that's when I saw her live, I think.
Was on that tour?
Yeah.
I'm
There's
with her.
some
Is that where- is that,
great songs
Is
on that
that
album.
Is Long Hot Summer Day on that one too?
That's actually from her first one.
Oh, I love that song. I love singing it. I loved watching her sing it.
And so, I'm with her. It's her and the great Sara and
Aoife O'Donovan.
Aoife. I can never say her first name. Correctly, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Aoife later sings on the second Goat Rodeo album too.
The first Goat Rodeo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is from 2011.
I should be taking notes.
That was Chris Thiele with Yo-Yo Ma and Edgar Meyer, and that it's very much bluegrass. That one wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
There's like a couple fun things on there, but yeah, these are so Aoife O'Donovan has been in I'm sure they have known her for a long time because I think her first album with her band was in 2006 or so, and it's again very much that progressive bluegrass indie rock style. Totally sidetracked. What were we talking about? Oh, I'm with her. Right. So they all three of them got booked at a festival to do a panel, and they put together some songs for that, and then just loved working together so much that they were like, let's be a band.
Well, when you showed me that cover they did of Harmony Hall by Vampire Weekend.
Hannah Hunt,
sorry.
One of those HH
one of those HH songs by fucking Vampire Weekend. That fucking band.
Yeah.
The way they clicked in vocally together seamlessly without a single thing out of place. It was striking.
That's the theme here with all three of the musicians from Nickel Creek, right? Is that you can tell by their other work that they are clearly wonderful to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Game for pretty much anything.
Yes.
Completely.
And just very talented technical musicians who love music.
And other people who also feel the same way.
Right.
Yeah, just love working with them.
Yeah.
And that's you also I've also was reading through Sarah Watkins has played violin on albums for a ton of different random people.
Right,
where
yeah.
you're oh, that's so fun that she knows them.
Yeah.
She's a working
Yeah.
artist. Yeah.
Well, I think it was even funny, even on the description for their YouTube when they did their Tiny Desk concert for NPR, I think Bob Boylan talked about how every single one of these members has been on Tiny Desk individually as part of
for
a
other
group
projects,
or supporting
yeah.
someone else or just
Right.
doing all these things. And now it's nice to have them all together as Nickel Creek.
Also, it was funny, they landed on I'm With Her a full year before the Hillary campaign started using it. And then they were
Which is so weird because I see that and I'm just it's a Hillary based band. That's all I can think of, which I know isn't fair, but that's just the connotation that I had when they came out. Because then their debut album come out in 2018?
Yeah, but they recorded it in 2016.
Whoa.
And then delayed it because they all had solo records they were already producing. But essentially they had released their solo records, and then Sarah Jarosz won Grammys for hers.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, oh, you should probably promote that a bit.
Yeah.
Go on tour as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Before we try to, do this band thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they pushed their album release back a couple years. Which is also, I watched they have a hour and a half House of Blues performance on YouTube. I watched it. It's fantastic. And I think their album for me was very good, but didn't quite click for most of the songs. I would say it was about half and half. But then watching them perform them live, I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Did
Absolutely.
you think that the singles were better than the album?
Well, they've also put out 6 or 7 affiliated singles that didn't end up on the record,
Right.
many of which are covers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all, that's another thing that you can say throughout all 3 of their careers is that when they cover a song, they transform it and make it their own, and they're completely unafraid to tackle songs from other genres and do it in their own
And known
style.
and beloved songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Kerida, I need to ask you, how many times have you seen Nickel Creek and Nickel Creek related projects live?
I think 5?
5. Okay,
Yeah.
walk us through, because there was the first one. The first one I assume was Nickel Creek at your college.
Nickel Creek, so that would have been 2005.
Okay.
And then there's a gap, and then I saw Nickel Creek in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Did you prefer one performance over the other? No.
I don't think I could say that because I think they both. I mean, this is another band where, like, they're older than me, but, like, not a ton. And I think they both, like, met me where I was at the time, if that makes sense. Like, imagine listening to those first 3 albums we talked about, like, the maturity and the angst, but, like, also the angstiness and, like, that at 18 in your first semester in college. Like, you can't really compare to that.
Right, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
True. But then, like, I had waited for so long for the 2014, you know.
Right.
So those two, and then I don't know the exact years on these, but saw Sarah Watkins at High Noon Saloon in Madison, and saw Punch Brothers. I saw Punch Brothers twice, like a 2 or 3 year span.
Okay.
I think both in Chicago.
Did you enjoy them?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. The first time I saw Punch Brothers, I didn't know their music at all. It was like a Taylor was like, "Hey, come on, this is like Chris Theo's band, like." Other band.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. And then I was like, oh, I love them. So, yeah.
That's awesome. The one thing I learned this week is that I now know what Chris Thiele looks like during sex, because we watched this one video of Live From Here. He's playing with a band called Wolfpack, which I haven't really given much of a shit about, but they're doing this one like instrumental song, which is very bass heavy.
And it is truly incredible. Like, there's a reason this is one of the most viewed videos on the Live From Here channel, is because it's like every musician on stage is just absolutely killing it.
Nice.
And it's very jazzy, and so there's a lot of like improv and improv that they're clearly doing, but like playing off of each other and still working in harmony.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really cool.
But Chris is making every possible face you can. Tongue out, wagging side to side, eyebrows arched, into it. Like, it's just like, you could have...
Full on, like, head moving back and forth.
It's fully what you expect from a theater major, you know? Like, it's just like, every possible face I'm going... And, like, literally, I'm just like, this is his O face. Like, I can't imagine anything else happening right now, because it's just... And the thing is, he just feels the music so great. And even when you showed me that Hannah Hunt clip of mine from her, like, he's in the background just charged, like hugging himself,
his chest and just grinning.
Yeah. And like when they hit a high note, he's just like, oh my god, like it's just so fantastic.
I think I cut myself off in the regular episode from being like, he gives me such slut vibes. And coming from me, that is not derogatory in any way.
Right.
But like...
Listen.
From that line, the Guys Like Me Never Sleep Alone, and then when I heard him first, like, explain and then sing Magnet live, I was just like, you think about what it would be like to fuck everyone in the room, every room you're in. Like,
I don't want to just put expectations out there, but since there's a remote chance that the band might hear our episode, Chris Thiele, I want your next solo album to be called Slut Vibes. I don't know if we can influence that. It's either that or release here to there. Either one of the two things. If one of those two things happens, I will be a satisfied individual.
Either one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's married again now.
You can be a married slut.
Yeah, listen.
Well, I'm not
listen.
Married, but fuck.
I mean, as we all know, Thomas Middleditch from fucking Silicon Valley, he said swinging saved his marriage.
He's now the
king swinging,
the poster boy for swinging.
Yeah, even though his wife didn't know it at the time, and he kind of sprung it on her. But whatever, that's its own separate sexual nightmare. Anyways,
this is a different podcast.
Also, Sexual Nightmare, good name for Chris Thiele solo album.
I would just follow that up to say that, like, one of the reasons I get those vibes is that, like, I heard Magnet and was like, I feel that way. Like, it's definitely like a takes one to know one situation.
Understandably, yeah. Any other thoughts? Any other projects, experiments, other things that strike out?
I mean, we moved on, but I kind of want to gush about I'm With Her for another second.
That's fine.
Yes,
because we were supposed to be doing research on Nickel Creek this week. I think I did approximately as much research and watching performances of I'm With Her. I am just absolutely so in love with them and the way that those three women work together and write songs together, but also the way that they arrange covers. Like literally everything they've released so far has just been fantastic. And their live performances are even better consistently. Like, every time I'm like, wow, they're giving even more into the vocal performances, and the harmonies are always absolutely perfect. And it's like, made me want to go back and explore all of their solo careers because I am enraptured with them right now.
Yeah. You are with her.
I'm with her.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, while I love Nickel Creek so much, and I really want them to put out another album because A Dotted Line is so good. I mean, obviously, we put it at first place.
Yeah.
And if this is the place you can be in together as adults, like, I really want to hear what the next one might sound like. But also, Punch Brothers are doing great. I'm With Her is doing great.
We understand your business.
Sarah Watkins' solo albums are fantastic. So, like, if you just keep doing what you're doing, I won't be mad. But also, please make another album.
Yeah.
Right. And or, like, maybe re-record some of your older stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, a remaster.
And call it Sexual Nightmare. We've been over this.
Nickel Creek Sexual Nightmare. That, you know what? That will undo all of the issues I have with the first. No.
Listen, we've determined Little Cowpoke should be tried at The Hague, and basically this will undo all those things, if you can do that. Seriously, though, they are fantastic. It's been a hell of a journey for me, especially having had no knowledge jumping in.
That's really
Taran's doing all this extra research. I'm like, I'm still listening to the Nickel Creek albums. I still want to get, like, a firm hold.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
I did too much research.
Yeah.
I did not have to go this hard, but I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a journey, and I've loved it, and I've also loved having Kerida O'Reilly here in studio talking about it with us.
Yay.
Thank you so much for taking the time and jumping into it with us.
It's been lovely, and I have homework to do now, so...
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That's the thing. You have 32 hours of Nickel Creek and Nickel Creek affiliated music to catch up on.
Yeah, man.
If you want that playlist, make sure you email us at thechartographers@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, all the places. Leave a review if you feel like it. You know, whatever, how many stars you feel like, that's great. 10? Is that a thing? Sure, make it happen. But most importantly, thank you all so much for listening. We really do appreciate every single one of you. And also, thank you for keep on listening, because you know there will be a good one, everybody. Good. Ahoy! Have a good one, everybody. Good.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Ahoy?
Is that a goodbye?
Goodbye!
Aloha!
Good ahoy!
All right. Bye.